Hi, my name is Khleif, and I'm the host of the Lifetime Cashflow through Real Estate Investing podcast. And every week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Multifamily Rockstars. So you guys know this is where we interview people that are just flat out crushing it in this business. And we show you the inside scoop into how multifamily investors are creating massive success in their businesses and in their lives. And as always, I've got my co-host who's the director of our massive action team for our Warrior Group, Mark Nagy.
Hey, Rod. Glad to be here. Good to see another familiar face here for our guest. About a year ago, I love these like 1 year anniversary podcasts. They're always good to hear success.
Yeah, especially since she's kicking butt. So we've got Michelle Shriver today, and she's in just under 700 doors as a general partner and a limited partner. You know, she's still working a W-2 job. She works in the casinos in my old stomping ground, just outside Denver in Blackhawk. She had to suffer through my podcast driving back and forth to work, and that's how we met, I think. So we're going to have some fun with this. But anyway, welcome to the show, Michelle. Excited to have some fun with you.
I am really excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, I listen to your podcast every week. It's part of my drive. So
yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, it's great to be on this side.
Well, yeah, it is kind of a cool full circle thing, isn't it? I hear that regularly from people that have listened and then they're on it, and it's I can imagine that's kind of cool. You joined the Warrior program in like late last year.
Yeah, it was October.
In October, not even a year yet. Wow. Why don't you take a minute and just tell us a little bit more of your story? Why real estate when you have you've got a pretty good, you've got a really good job, high level job, just kind of take us through and bring us current.
I've been in and out of real estate for a number of years. I've owned single family. I was the landlord, managed them myself. And that was great. I mean, it was great passive. Well, not really passive. It's not really passive income, but because you're taking care of, all the tenants and, doing what you need to do to maintain the home. But my husband and I had several single family. We ended up selling those a number of years ago. And
were they in Denver or where were they?
I actually had two in Denver, Westminster and Arvada. And
wow, that's where I went to high school. That's why I asked. I know, guys, just humor me for a minute because this is like my old stomping ground. So I may have some questions that have no relevance to training, but just satisfy my own edification here. So to Westminster and Arvada, we used to go over to Pomona High School and Arvada High School because, of course, the grass is always greener with the girls at the other high schools. Anyway, so I just wanted to reminisce a little bit.
Yeah.
And were the other ones in Denver too, or somewhere else?
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, my son went to Ralston Valley. So.
Oh, no kidding. That's hilarious. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll leave you alone. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, it's great. It's great. We also had an Airbnb type property in Miami Beach. Loved that. I kind of regret selling that now, but
that market is insane. I'm going to get a condo there. Now that my relationship situation, I just like that energy over there. And a condo that I rented when I was single cost $5,000 at the time. It's $12,000 now. So a month. It's like, good God. Right. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Should have kept it, but
I know. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Yeah.
Exactly. But I started listening to real estate podcasts, kind of back then. And what's funny is, I don't know how many years ago, it was a lot of years ago, Rod, that I started listening to your podcast. And I just thought, multifamily, that's big. I don't have the experience. I wouldn't know what I'm doing. And literally last year I said, why do I keep putting this off? And I think I answered crush, too.
Oh, did you? So you didn't even do it at a boot camp. You just came and called, and that was it. Okay. Enough is enough.
Yes.
It's time to get going. Okay.
Yes. And so joined the Warrior program to learn what I needed to know and shortcut my learning.
And it's been all downhill since there, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I'm super happy with where I'm at so far.
Nice. And you've met some amazing people, right?
I have. All the deals that I'm in have all been through the Warrior program, through people that I met. in that program.
How is that networking and those relationships? How do you think that's changed your trajectory of success now, even just not even a year in versus if you had tried to just go
It's
on
everything. I would probably still be trying to learn, reading up, it's everything. The people that are in the program are so generous with their information and their support and their encouragement. And then, obviously all the information that, we receive from Rod is it has completely enabled me to believe that I can do it. And actually I have done it just by following, what you teach. So
how active is your husband in it? Is this more you, or
it's mostly me. He's
that's what I thought.
He's very much behind the scenes. He likes
support
the technical side
got it. So here's a question for you, Michelle. I know you've only been in the program a year, but you know that a lot of people listening to the show are like you were before you decided to text the word crush and find, and apply to the program. What suggestions would you have for someone that hasn't taken action yet, that knows they need to do something? They know they need to create, passive income for their families, for their kids, their legacy and all that. What would you tell them? Help them along.
The number one thing that has supported me is your programs, listening to your podcasts, meeting the people that you surround yourself with. You open that up to the public, with your boot camp. So there's so many people that you can meet there. I think it's really about meeting the people. There might be local meetups. I've done a couple of those in, my local community, finding other people that are investing in real estate. But really it's been through the people that I've met that are already doing it, that show you it's not rocket science. This is something that you can do, and it's just taking those steps, one foot after the other. And so just take action is my best advice. Don't keep sitting on the sidelines listening. You need to put it into play.
Well, Michelle, I know we were chatting about this right before, which is you kind of had a little bit of a shift there in terms of what you thought you might be doing, and that has changed. For those people listening that have no experience with multifamily, which is most of the listeners, and they aren't sure, hey, how can I add value to a team? What can I do? Where would you advise they start? And what was that shift for you? And what have you done?
Well, don't underestimate the power of your network. The people that you already know and the people that they know. I said from the very beginning, I will do anything but capital raise. And I love capital raising because it's just talking to people about my experience. And, somebody that I know, or even somebody that my husband knows, my very first investor was someone that he plays softball with. And so it's just, don't underestimate the people that you know and their desire to build, passive income and generational wealth for their family. It's really the people that's where I would start. And then, there might be things that you're great at. I'm very analytical. I'm in the business world. I look at P&Ls all day. I can absolutely read, underwriting. But I don't have time because I'm a busy executive. And so so I think that you have to find what works for you and what works for the life that, you lead and want to lead. Have
you settled into being a capital raiser instead of the underwriting piece? Is that what I'm hearing in whatever teams you're with?
Yes. Right. And I told my coach originally that was not what I was going to do.
Right. Right.
I realized I can do it from anywhere. I can, it's just talking to people, and it's just sharing my experience and what I'm doing, and they're naturally interested. So yeah. No, I got it. No, and it's so funny. You want to make God laugh, you tell him your plans, right? But it's and that's the thing. That's the beautiful thing about this business is you can settle into different roles. You can settle into something, and you want to settle into something you enjoy and something you're good at, something you're strong at, because then you never work another day in your life. If you're playing to your strengths and what you enjoy, work is play. And if you're doing what you enjoy, you're going to be passionate about it, and passion is required to influence people. So, it's just, that's a match made in heaven. So let me ask you this: in what you're doing so far in the multifamily game,
Well, let me ask it a different way. Have there been any like epiphanies on this real estate journey in general? It could go back to single family moving forward. Any aha moments? Anything like, okay, now I get it moments?
I think it was, starting with what I wanted my life to look like in the future. My entire career, I'm really driven. I really want to succeed, but I never looked at what do I want my life to really look like? How do I want to be spending my time? And so I think with multifamily, what that has shown me is there really is passive income out there that's available, that's very lucrative. And so now that I'm older, I'm looking at what do I really want my life to be like? And I don't think I'll ever slow down. That's just not in my nature, but the amount of time freedom that I want to have, the amount of personal freedom I want to have, it's not just all about financial freedom anymore for me.
Well, I was just going to ask that. That was my next question: is where does that drive come from? You're a busy executive. You're kicking butt in the multifamily space. What's the why? What's driving all this?
And what's always driven me, I think, is one is just this inherent drive. When I was 10 years old, I started a newsletter in a gymnastics school in my front yard, and so
wow.
invited all my
Nice.
neighbors to do it. But that's just part of me. But really, it's my family. I have 3 grandkids now.
Wow.
They are the light of my life, and when they invite me to come to a tournament or a performance, I want to be able to do that. And as an executive that works in a 24/7 business, that it can be tough.
No, that's very valid. Okay.
Well, I know you mentioned you were listening to the podcast one day and you just said enough is enough and decided you'd made that change. Were those goals? Was that part of what just made you flip the switch and say, hey, I want to do this?
I think that's right. I think it's, I was probably having a tough day. and it was just, I've lived, kind of this roller coaster life. I've been incredibly blessed. We've done a lot of really amazing things. We've traveled, we've bought, real estate. We've bought vacation homes as well. We've done some really terrific things. But I want the fuel for that to change a little bit. So I just made the decision and went for it.
Good for you. Good for you. And a lot of people, and especially that's difficult for analytical people. Most analytical people, they got to check off every single box before they make a move. And those of you listening, they're analytical. I love you. You know who you are, and you know it's true. And I'm going to tell you, in this game, and it took you several years of suffering through my podcast before you made that call. Yes. Right. Yes. So, you analytical ones, and you're usually some of the most successful people in the business. But there's an analogy, and if you've heard me say it before, I apologize, but just remember, you can drive all the way across the United States at night, your headlight only seeing 60 feet in front of you, and you'll make it. You may have obstacles, but other people have done it before you, and it's the same way in this business. But you got to take that first step. You got to make that move and make it happen. And trust me, it's freaking worth it. When I tell you deals are coming, they're coming out of the freaking woodwork right now. And there are a lot of operators that got into this bad debt. We put an offer in on something. We should hear back today, an LOI on something that they have 3 months before their loan resets, and they are freaking out, and it's a screaming deal. And by the way, if you're accredited, text the word partner to 72345, because we've got deals coming, and they're good deals. I'm actually going to set up an opportunity fund that'll be done here in the next few days. Actually, we're real close, but just to be able to capitalize on those deals. So
I want to interrupt real quick. I got 2 deals this week that actually had price drops from broker relationships, which I hadn't seen price drops in the past 12 months. But one of these deals, it was crazy. The broker was telling me about it. It had already gone under contract, so it was gone, and it wasn't for us anyways. But he was telling us they actually started marketing this deal a year ago at about 5.5 million, and they've been chasing the market down the past year, and now it's gone under contract for a little bit over 3 million because it wasn't able to sell, and insurance and all these things are going crazy. And so that's just one deal of all of the other opportunity that you're talking about.
No, it's going to be exponential. And And if you're in a passive, if you're thinking of investing passively, don't get locked up in fear, because, this is when, bigger returns are going to happen. And, you want to be careful, obviously. But we're putting together I'll just a sidebar for a second. I put together this whole Cashflow club, we call it. It's this incredible resource with videos and articles and books and things. And it's all free for passive investors. And we're just about done with it. And it's going to be extraordinary. It'll be the best resource out there, I think, for this. But, I really believe in the opportunity that's coming. So, I'll try not to belabor it, but that's the truth of it.
Michelle, what are you doing? What are you doing personally to overcome all this fear and everything that's going on out there in the world right now?
In terms of what's going on in the world, I do not watch the news. I don't turn it on. I don't want to hear about it. If it's on social media, I scroll by it, or I even, there's people I've had to remove because there's so much negativity. There's so much division. And there's so much bullshit. I'm sorry to say it like that, but that's the bottom line. It's almost all crap. You don't even know what to believe anymore. And you got to kind of touch on the headlines, like the rates just went up 2 days ago, for example. But you got to touch on the headlines. But God, it's so negative. I'm sorry I interrupted, but good Lord, you're so right. Ugh. Yeah, that's exactly right. And so I keep that. I have to keep that out of my brain. I have to keep that out of my mind, because that will impact me. And so what do I fill it with? I fill it with positivity. I fill it with, you have, Rod, your motivational
clips,
motivational clips. There's other people that I listen to that do the same on podcasts, and I just keep my mind filled with people that are actually making things happen, and that are really following their goals and dreams. I have on my shelf, my vision board. That's something I look at every day. And, I just have to keep that top of mind. I actually have a vision board in my phone, so that even if I'm at work or, wherever I am, standing in a grocery store line, instead of scrolling social media, I just pull up my album of what I want to accomplish, and I keep it top of mind.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's how it works, guys. It's the bottom line. And I'm going to tell you, through what we're going through, you better have your goals done. If you don't, go to rodslinks.com. At the bottom is my goal setting workshop. I do it every year on New Year's Day or the next day if I'm hungover. No, I'm kidding. I'm never really hungover, but I do it. And it's got my guide there you can download. I'm not going to try to sell you anything, and if you've heard it before, I apologize. But here's the thing. People spend more time planning a freaking birthday party than they do designing their lives, and designing your life's freaking important. Have your spouse do it. Have your kids, if they're over 10 years old, do it. Again, rodslinks.com. Go to the goal setting. It's about an hour. And here's why that's a big deal, because you're going to really start thinking that the shit has hit the fan. I'm sorry about the profanity on this episode. I'll decide if we're going to cut it out or not, but it's going to happen, and there's going to be a lot of fear. Okay. And fear paralyzes. And that's why your goals are so freaking important, because if you've got those in front of you, like Michelle's got, you've got your vision boards, you're focused on what you want, not the other noise and crap that's out there. And so, I'm really glad you brought that up, Michelle, because it's going to be really important in what's coming. I remember in 2008 and 9, the news was saying, real estate's going to be terrible for 10 years. Well, baloney. I mean, multifamily rents exceeded pre-crash levels in less than 3 years. Okay. And that was a big crash. And so, God forbid it's that bad again, but there's going to be so much opportunity if you're focused on what you want, not what you don't want, because whatever you focus on gets bigger. And if you're focused on all the political crap and the news and all that, that's going to get bigger, and your blood pressure is going to go up. If you're focused on your goals, that's what's going to materialize for you. So my next question for you, sorry, let me get off my soapbox. So if you could share a war story, I call them seminars, and very few people have had bigger than my seminar, but share a war story, share a time you got your butt kicked, and really if there was a takeaway from it. And we all have them, and you haven't even been in the business that long, and I promise you, I know you're going to come up with something.
I'll take you back to, I've had a W-2 for many years, and I've gone in and out of entrepreneurship as well. I've worked for a total of 3, companies in my life, and I'm in one right now. But in between that, I've had multiple businesses. I've had smoothie cafes. I've had a hospitality recruiting company. I've had my husband had a performance automotive parts company, and he actually got he was having some health challenges, and I had to take that over. That was I lost a lot of money on that flipping business that we bought. And there were red flags. This is my takeaway. There were red flags when we went in to buy it, when we did the due diligence, but we were so excited. And, we saw the bottom line money that was possible, that was being made. And we ignored those red flags. And we ended up having to sell it at a huge loss. My other businesses, thankfully, were much more successful, but that one hurt because I had taken money that I had made in my W-2 through bonuses and stock options and things like that. And I had poured it into this business because it had, it was kind of like a big risk, but big reward. And I ignored the red flags. And I think that's so important. And it's so, it's applicable to multifamily because we have looked at a lot of deals since I started this program, and we've passed on a lot of deals since I started this program because I just didn't believe that the underwriting was solid or that they were really going to accomplish, or it was just too aggressive and I wasn't seeing what they were seeing in their numbers or in the market, things like that. So get educated enough to be able to, see the red flags, but then you have to, you can't be. You
have to actually pay attention to them. You got to pay attention to them, right? I'm going to tell you that's really good feedback because the lesson for you was you didn't pay attention. You got your butt kicked because you didn't pay attention to the red flags, and I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me. And I'm going to tell you guys, the red flags aren't just in the actual deals themselves; they're also in the people you meet. Okay, and when you go to Rod's links, there's a book there about the questions you should ask before you get in a partnership. And one of the things I tell people when I explain that book is also your intuition. Your brain is so freaking powerful. If something doesn't feel right, trust it. Okay. Because, there's a book about this called Blink, where these art experts, world's best art experts can look at a painting and they know it's a fake, but they don't know why it's a fake. And so, that's your intuition. That's their intuition. And it's sometimes subconscious. And when your gut doesn't feel right, trust it because it is seeing something you're not seeing consciously. So it applies not just to people, to the deals. It also applies to people. And you had a failure and it was a seminar and you got lessons from it. And, you've heard me talk about failures. We failed our way to success. I built 27 businesses. Several were tens of millions of dollars, most spectacular flaming seminars, right? And in Denver, I had frozen yogurt shops at 6th and Wadsworth and Hampton and Wadsworth. I had a carpet cleaning business. I had vending carts down on the 16th Street Mall selling ice cream bars. I had a solar business in the tech center. I'm sorry, I'm just humoring Michelle because she lives there. I had all these different businesses that I've tried that failed. So I was doing, what is the backyard dishes for direct TV and stuff before cable TV down in off of Hampton and I-25. So anyway, I've done it all. They've all been seminars, but we fail our way to success. You've heard me talk about Sarah Blakely, the billionaire owner of Spanx, the women's undergarment thing, holds everything together. And I met her at a mastermind. She told me that her dad used to ask her weekly, her and her brother, what have you failed at this week? And I thought, what an awesome freaking question, right? To ask your kids so they don't fear failure. So, I love your answers to that, and the takeaway that you got from it. So let me ask you this. What's some of the best advice you've ever gotten in your life, Michelle? It could be personal, it could be business, whatever you want to answer.
That's such a great question. I don't know. It's so cliche, but start with the end in mind. And I wish I would have done that when I started my career because, it was always about what's the next promotion? What's the next thing that I can do? What value can I add? Which is all great. Right. But I didn't set the boundaries of here's what I want my life, especially outside of work, to look like. And so start with the end in mind, I think is, I'm doing that now in my 50s. And so, it's never too late. Right.
What do you mean by that? So you have this vision of the future life that you want and you work backwards towards it. Is that what that means to you? Okay.
Right. Beautiful. And that's what I do now. Like I look at, here's what I want. What do I need to do in the next, let's say it's a year goal, right? What do I need to do in the next year to make that happen? What do I need to do in the next month? What do I need to do today to move me towards that? I literally work backwards now.
Oh, it's fantastic. That's one of the things we do at the boot camp. One of the exercises we do, like you guys know, we've got our September boot camp. In fact, this is going live today. If you hear this today, Friday the 28th, is it? 27th?
Yes. 28th.
Okay, 28th. If you hear it today, the pricing goes up tonight at midnight. If you hear it past, if you DM me, I'll hook you up. Just DM me on any social and I'll hook you up for the $197 price. But yeah, so again, one of those exercises I do at the event is I have you write out your ideal day. From the minute you get up to the time you go to bed, if you lived life on your terms with every freedom you could imagine, what would that day look like? And because like the end in mind, it pulls you into it. When you have that vision of your future life, that subconsciously pulls you into it. It's just one of many things that I do to help people actually take action. Besides the goal setting and all that stuff at the event, we do all these exercises, but that's a real powerful one that ties into the end in mind.
For the analytical people, by the way, I do this even as well. Like the cool thing about multifamily is that can be numbers driven. If you start at the end in mind and your goal is, let's say, $10,000 a month cash flow, you can then back into that and figure out, okay, how many doors do I need? Or if I want to syndicate, what percentage of doors do I need? And then what cash flow is that going to look like? And then you can even back that up even further. Okay, how many deals do I have to look at to then get to that amount of doors? And then how many do I have to underwrite? And then how many do I have to do on a weekly basis? And you can back everything in about multifamily to figure out how long and how quickly can I get there? And that's the cool thing about it. It's numbers driven.
Yeah. To meet your goals. Yeah. I mean, most goals, honestly, you can back in like that. I have to agree. Obviously, I feel like we fail anybody that doesn't join our program. I sincerely feel that way. Okay. I mean, our students now own somewhere between 170 and 180,000 units that we know of. We're doing a count. We're over 160. I know we're going to be way over 170 because there's, people we've lost touch with and whatnot. But, talk about your experience for a minute, because I think it's valuable.
Thank you. I mean, first of all, it's the knowledge. And I went to my first warrior only meeting, and there was so much information there. There was, an information that really took a deeper dive rather than, just the, kind of the top level things that you share and learn, maybe at a boot camp or, elsewhere, listening to a podcast. So it's really that deep dive information that we received. And then frankly, it's the people that I've met. I have been part of a lot of groups throughout the years. I have a business coach. I've been part of a group that, that she has. I've been part of other networking type programs. There has not been another place where I've met the quality of people who truly care about others, who are just good, ethical, people of integrity,
driven,
yes, goal oriented, and willing to share their experience and their knowledge and their deals and, with others. And so,
I don't know why I attract people like that, but I just happen to, and I'm so freaking proud of it. And we're doing another at the Orlando event. We're going to do another Hall of Fame, for exemplary warriors in the program. And it's like there's so many to choose from. It's such a difficult thing. But, we did it in Denver at the last boot camp. And I noticed something. And I if you've heard me say this before, I apologize. Just some of these things are just really important to me, but we did a little slide for each one of these warriors, and we had them come up stage. They got an award. Most of them had their families there. It was a big deal. But I started to look at each slide, and every single one of these people did something to make the world a better place. Veterans suicide, veterans homelessness, schools in India, sexual trafficking, and on and on and on. And I pointed to the 900 people, and I'm like, that's what we call a freaking clue, okay? Because these, this group gives back. They want to make the world a better place. It's not just about the money. By the way, if you want to apply to our Warrior program, text the word crush to 72345, just like Michelle did. Or better yet, get your butt to my boot camp, frankly. It's coming right up. That's a no-brainer. If you can spare the 3 days, it's not a big sales pitch. It's just full-on drinking through a fire hose. I talk about the Warrior program for like 30 minutes. The rest of it's all training, and it's a wonderful experience, and you will leave so freaking juiced you'll be coming out of your skin. And if you don't love it, just let me know and I'll give you your money back. I don't mean like it, I mean freaking love it. And it's never happened, but there's a first time for everything. But
one more that I wanted to end on, because I know you've talked about underwriting, the relationships, and I noticed this when I saw this deal posted. Correct me if I'm wrong. This most recent deal that you've done, you guys actually did a loan assumption at a very low rates, which maybe was part of the underwriting, but was that something that you were looking for? Did that just help boost the deal? And tell us about that and how this all kind of came together, because that's very unique in terms of creative financing.
Well, I mean, I'm probably a little conservative by nature. Funny story about that. I mean, I'm debt free. I have had this roller coaster ride with debt my entire life. And in 2019, I said, no more. I'm getting out of all of my consumer debt. And I even paid off my house.
Wow, congratulations.
Thanks.
You're a Dave Ramsey poster child.
I am. That's another podcast I listen to, although I don't agree with obviously everything he says in terms of real estate. But,
I've got debt on my compound, but it's at 3% It would be a crime to pay that off, Anyway.
But that has frankly served me well in the last, number of years. But so when I saw the underwriting on this particular deal, I thought, I haven't seen a deal this good, in terms of the incredibly low interest rate, which isn't available anymore. You have to get it through a loan assumption. There was a lot of work that was already done. It cash flows from day one. There is more value add to do, but we are going to cash flow. So we're going to continue to improve it for the residents, make it an even better place to live. But at the same time, we already make money from the day that we close. I mean, and that's just, it's not always, available out there. And then plus, like you said, it's the people that are part of the deal. My coach is on that deal. And so, so I feel like I can't go wrong there, but,
right.
And, he has a lot more experience than I do, but there was, just all of the numbers when you put it together, it was
nice.
Really the strongest one that I've seen.
Nice. So I'm going to ask you a question I don't know that I've ever asked before. So if heaven exists and you show up at the pearly gates, what would you want to hear God say when you arrive?
Wow, great question. Heaven does exist.
I agree.
I guess I want to hear that you made a difference. You made a difference in others. You added value. Thank you for adding value, to my children. So.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Freaking beautiful. So great to see you. I know we've got our next Warrior event in November in Phoenix. I don't know if you can make it, but if you can, sure love to see you again, and or the boot camp, or both, either, whatever. But we'll have hundreds of Warriors at the boot camp as well. In fact, most of them will be on panels answering questions. We go Saturday night. We go well into the night. It gets ugly. We bring in a bar and there's drinks, and I'm yelling at people to shut up in the back of the room. And people say that's probably the best part of the event is the Q&A that goes for hours on Saturday night. It's a blast. But anyway, I hope I see you at one or both. And thanks for coming on and adding some value.
Thanks so much. It's been such an honor. Thank you.
So one other quick thing. We encounter so many people that are frankly frustrated. They're looking in the mirror and they're frustrated that they haven't been able to escape the rat race. They haven't been able to build cash flow to the point where they're able to have financial and time freedom with their families. And maybe they see other people buying real estate and creating, incredible cash flow. And they think, well, it's just scary. Buying apartments is intimidating. And I get it. But see, that's why we created our Warrior Mentorship Program. They're our coaching students and they've had extraordinary results. My students, I've been teaching about 5 years and they own upwards of 140,000 units now that we know of, right? And we feel like it's just getting going. Now we're looking to grow this group and really take it to the next level. And honestly believe that the greatest transfer of wealth could be upon us right now with this current economic environment. Everything's going on sale. So we're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework, really like a blueprint or a map, literally step by step. And then they're able to leverage our systems and our incredible network to raise money and equity, to find deals and close those deals and build partnerships, really nationwide. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more in our incredible network and take advantage of the unbelievable opportunities that are upon us, you can apply to my Warrior Mentorship Program by texting the word CRUSH to 72345, or you can go to mentorwithrod.com. And what we'll do is we'll set up a call so you can check us out and we can check you out and see if it's a fit. Now, again, you can go to mentorwithrod.com or text the word CRUSH to 72345 to apply, and we will speak soon.